My pleasure.
Okay, so we are having an amazing new adventure together as empath peeps. I want us to learn and grow with one another, getting to know us as a community, both personally and professionally. So I just started doing some interviews, and I have one that I want to do with Doug Sandler. So Doug is such a heart-centered guy. I I met him through one of our business communities, and he's a giver. He's a giver like me. So I wanted to have him be one of the first people that I interview. And so, Doug, just first off, where are you from? Like, what part of the world do you dwell in?
Well, geographically, I live in Los Angeles. I'm from Baltimore originally, from the East Coast as a West Coast transplant. But yeah, I'm on the internet, so I'm everywhere, and which is wonderful. So my message and my thoughts and my feelings and my vibe go worldwide, and I love that. And because I receive people's messages from a worldwide audience too, which is terrific to get everybody feeling and grooving in the same vibe as I am. So that's very cool. Thank you for having me here, Tiffany.
My pleasure. And speaking of grooves and vibes, tell me a little bit more about like your philosophy on life.
Geez, well, I'll go back to 2015, if not going back to 1964, the year of my birth, but I'll go back to 2015 when I wrote a book called Nice Guys Finish First. And I think about the first chapter a lot of that book, and I quoted a guy. His name is Gary Shandling. Gary is no longer on this earth, but in his physical presence, but his spirit lives on. And he I quoted him in that chapter one. If you don't think nice guys finish first, you don't know where the finish line is. And I think that is so appropriately, been my philosophy in life, in that I don't want to finish first if first means that I have to step on people to get to where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I have to be an iron-fisted tyrant. That's not my leadership style. I start from a position of giving, and I find that if nice guys finish first, I'm going to be the guy that's going to prove that over and over and over again, Tiffany.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And so what's the best advice that you've given someone or they have given you?
Wow. Let's see. My dad gave me a lot of great advice. He said, even if no one has done it before, Dougie, you can still do it. And that kind of made me feel very confident in my capabilities as a human being. My mom always used to set me up in front of that mirror, even as a young kid, and say, look at yourself in the mirror, that you are the perfect you, and that's so true. I mean, we all have our level of imperfection, but at the same time, imperfection is perfect. Perfect imperfection is probably a way to phrase that. So I don't know if there's one piece of advice that I've been given in my life that I have kind of followed through my entire life. Other than I really do feel like nice guys do finish first, and that was again the name of the book. So I've been living that philosophy for my entire life. I just happened the manifestation of that philosophy was that book in particular.
I love nice guys. I've always loved nice guys. Like there's something so sweet and authentic and genuine about nice guys and nice people. And I love that you really identify with it. And it's like you're an invitation for people to be nice and kind, and it's inspiring.
Well, thanks, Tiffany. And where we met through our good friend in common, Jay Fazette, was at JVology. And until I found that family, from a business perspective, while I felt like nice guys finish first, I wasn't exactly sure how that manifests itself in these relationships. And joint venture partnerships are all about better together. We're better together. And I love the philosophy that Jay has set out, and he does this through practice as well. It's the I'll go first philosophy. So nice guys finish first. It could mean nice guys start first also. And that's okay. I'd rather start. Look, you find the true measure of a person when you give and give and give, and you give a lot. If there's something that you are looking for from a receiving perspective, the best way to see if there's anything out there is give and see who is in alignment with what you do. Yeah, I love people that come to me and say, "I will give first to me," but I always feel like, listen, you don't, we'll figure this out. Let me go first. So, yeah, nice guys start first too.
Oh, that is so great. So, with your nice guys embodiment, how, like, if you could turn your nice guy magic wand on,
I got it. Yep.
how would you create our world? Like, what would make the best version of humanity? What would we look like, feel like, be like?
I mean, I know it might sound very like this is just not realistic, but what's the purpose of, and I'm not a political guy, but what the hell is the purpose of war? I mean, people killing each other, that doesn't make any sense to me. Not everybody having the same level of equality, that doesn't make any sense to me because of the color of your skin or the way that your hair is parted or the way that you look or the way that you act or the sex that you are or your orientation or anything. Why is any of that stuff important? You find that you are aligned with a certain section of people in the world, then gravitate towards those people and more power to you. If you don't align with those people, let those people let them alone. What is the purpose of any of that stuff? It's when people start to impose their philosophy and their beliefs upon you, and not only do they impose those philosophies and beliefs upon you, but then they say, if you don't do that way, I'm going to be angry with you and hurt you. At what point does that make any sense at all? So in a perfect world, none of that happens. We just all get along and we just all have each other as brothers and sisters, and we live in this perfect utopia. For me, I love the idea of that. I surround myself with that. I don't surround myself with haters. I surround myself with lovers. I really feel like people are put on this earth with the goal of everyone wants to be happy. Doesn't mean that everyone wants to be happy if you're unhappy. If we live in a world of abundance, everybody can be happy. Everybody. There's no reason why everybody can't be happy. Everybody can't be fed. Everybody can be at peace. No one will be at war. Again, is this an unrealistic, position to take? Not for me, but it seems to be with a lot of the world. That's a challenging position for them to all take.
Thank you for sharing. Spiritually, we're on an upward spiral and we still are growing, right? As a society, spiritually and in our niceness, right? And generosity and kindness. And I do think it's possible for us to live in a world that has peace, that is free of war, that is free of hatred and injustices and all the funky things that have been happening as of late. So as you and I keep vibrating that it's
I
not
agree.
just a
Yeah,
possibility, but it's a way of being, and we bring that, it's just going to ripple out.
I agree. I agree. I think that the more we work towards that, the more that we believe that, the law of attraction will absolutely bring that towards us. And if you believe it, it can happen. Even if it isn't, if even if there's no evidence of it today, and I think there is plenty of evidence of it today. I think that things like the situation that the world is in right now, from a health perspective, it certainly is a pretty shocking awakening. And
Mhm.
if we look at this, we should not look at this and say, why is this happening to us? It's, why is this happening for us? What are we really truly, what should we be getting out of this? And yes, unfortunately, people are going to spiritually leave their body, physically leave their body, and their spirits will stay the same. But it is at a point where I say that let's see what good can come out of this horrible situation. And I think there is. I think there's good stuff that's coming, and I'm excited. I love the spiritual. You said it. We're in an upward spiral, and I love that. I feel like we are as well, and we're just about there. We just need to continue, working towards it.
Mhm. What other good things do you feel are coming out of what's been happening in the world these days.
Well, I love the idea that people are, although feel like they're physically more distant than ever before because of all of this
Mhm.
social distancing and quarantining. I
Yeah.
feel like to a degree, I am much more physically present with a lot of people because of my connection that I've been able to make through the online space. We went to an online conference that had 200 people there. Nobody was close together physically, but man, I made some great relationships. You being one of them at that conference that if I would have gone physically to that conference, maybe some of those meetings that we had never would have happened because we were forced into a situation where we were broken into smaller groups, had communication with the people in those smaller groups. And for me, it was a really, I got more done in that weekend of, 3 days, actually, that 3 day period than I would have had I gone to a physical conference. So I think if there's something else that's good that's come of this, it's even though we're pulled apart, we are actually being pushed together even closer than we have been before.
I agree. And I feel so connected with so many people, even
Mhm.
though I haven't seen them in months or years for some, but yet there's such a connection and a depth that has shown up out of this.
Agreed.
And for you, you get to bring that depth and connection out at a broader scale through the type of work that you do as a podcaster and creator of, you know, being an invitation for other people to create their own podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about your impact in the world?
Sure. I mean, this has been the most interesting time as we are all being put in a position where we're sitting at our homes or in remote locations, and we are looking at ways to try to further our business or further our connections with community or build
Mhm.
influence in whatever space that we are in. And we've been working in the podcasting space for the last almost a little bit more than 5 years now, 5.5 years, with one of our shows, the Nice Guys on Business podcast, which is a show that I host. But finding that using that platform and introducing it to other people over the last several years has proven quite interesting to, again, build community, grow your influence, or to make money, however you want to look at it, because those are the three main goals people get into podcasting. But specifically in the last several months since the beginning of the year, and specifically since this whole COVID situation is going on, people are looking for ways to, how do I grow my community? How do I build
Mhm.
more influence? And how do I make money if I'm stuck at home? So we started to work on some other plans and programs. Actually, the timing of this program falling into place at exactly the same time that people were beginning to socially distance has proven quite beneficial to our business, because we have a program that's in place right now to teach people very easily how to get into the podcasting world, and we do it in a quite unique and fun manner, and trying to take all the hurdles and the obstacles out of people's ways when it comes to getting in started with a podcast to grow community, build influence, or to make money.
And you know what, Doug? When, like, I have maybe up to a couple years ago, I thought, oh yeah, that'd be fun to do a podcast. And then in the last few years, I was like, I'm so busy with all the other things that
Uh-huh.
I'm doing. It's not on my radar. I have no interest or desire. But talking with you and your brother Strickland, the two of you were so inspiring and enrolling that I changed my total outlook on creating a podcast and looking forward to doing the training with you.
Awesome. We have that. We tend to have that effect on people. I find that once people see that Strickland, and he really truly is my brother, maybe not biologically my brother, but he absolutely is my soul brother. We've worked together for the last 20 years as best friends, and the last handful of years as business partners and best friends also. So he truly is my brother. We try to make it fun. Look, if you're going to do something, you may as well make it the most fun that you possibly can make it as you're going through it. And you're just about to experience what, you've kind of had a little fraction of the Doug and Strickland experience through your relationship with us just over the last few weeks. Imagine what it's going to be like when you're actually building something with us, and we're going to take you through the entire program together with us. We leave no podcaster behind. So
That's so nice to hear. And for everybody who is curious about my new podcast, stay tuned. Wait until August 18th. That's when it will be launched. And I'll give you more information as we get closer to that and I go through Doug's training. So Doug, who else would be a great fit to start their own podcast?
So think about the message that you want to put out to the world. If you want to build influence or and be the go-to person within your space, you would be a great subject of podcast. If you wanted to build a community and share your message and start to really have an impact in the community, even a small community. I have a show called Ford Mustang: The Early Years, and it's just a very small podcast, but it has a very large impact on the Mustang world. I have a 65 Mustang, so I love talking 65 Mustang stuff. So I have an impact on that group, as small a community as it is. So you don't have to be, a celebrity or or have a big list of people that you want to reach. Or if you're an entrepreneur and you want to try to figure out what's the best way to share my message with a growing community, or how do I best get my message out to the world and use this as a very inexpensive. I mean, the barrier to podcasting is very low. A lot of people do get involved for that reason, but to actually have a system in place that can teach you how to build your business using your podcast as a business development and lead generation tool. So entrepreneurs, speakers, healers, those that have a community already, those that are looking to grow a community, those that are looking for influence or even have influence already, but want to kind of rub elbows with other people that have influence, podcasting is great. Or if you look at it from strictly a monetization perspective, if you want to make money and you're trying to figure out how do I do that with podcasting, this is a great course for you and really easy to go through it as well.
I can make money doing the podcast that I'm going to launch in August.
Yeah. So what we do is so there's a bunch of different ways that you can actually make money podcasting. Most people, when they get into the podcasting space, they think the only way that they really can make money or monetize their show is through advertising and sponsorship. They're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, now I got to sell advertising and sponsorship. And I'm thinking that is a horrible way to try to make money podcasting, because that gives you another job in addition to starting a podcast. Now I got to learn how to sell advertising and sponsorship. I don't want you to do any of that. First thing I want you to do when you get started, if money is your goal, one of your goals, one of many goals when you get into podcasting, what I want you to do is first, let's get your car out of the garage and put it on the driveway. So you can't do that. You can't start making money until you have a show. Now, I can tell you all of the ways, through joint venture partnerships, through collaborative arrangements, through affiliate relationships, through online events, through courses, online courses that you're doing. There is many ways that you can make, probably 24 plus ways that you can make money podcasting. But to get it to that, when we don't even have a podcast, gets to be overwhelming.
So can I borrow your Mustang to pull it into the driveway?
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, I used to want a navy Mustang convertible with a white top.
Okay, hold on. Can you turn that? Can you put the other view on? Can you just back up to the two view where it's two of us just backed up a little bit? Because can you see that right there? That is a blue Mustang with a white top right there. I don't even know if you ever saw that.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
That's my car. And if you need to see a really small version of it, it's right there. That's my car too. So you can see that. See, that's white, and I know it's hard to see, but that's a white interior there. But
I wanted one of those when I was a kid, but I lived in the country and my parents didn't think it was a reliable enough vehicle. I wanted that or a blue convertible Bug with a white.
Oh, that's good too.
Like that was my vision when I was a teenager, and my parents wouldn't let me have it.
So while I won't let you have that car, because that's my jewel, that's my baby, I would help you to understand the benefits of potentially podcasting for profit, because you can. But the first thing I always try to focus people on is let's get something you're passionate about. Like I ask people as we are in this original strategy call, okay, what is it that you're passionate about? What is it that you would do, even if it took you 90 days to make some money at it? What would it be? And if it's coaching or healing or or soothsaying, or whatever, or doing body work, or whatever it is that you're really like passionate about, let's develop a podcast around that passion. Because when the going gets tough and it's like, oh gosh, I have an episode that needs to come out tomorrow and I haven't done it yet. When the going gets tough, we want to show you that you're going to have to pull yourself up by your big girl britches and you're going to have to do some work sometimes. This is not like this is the easiest thing in the world to do, to be successful at. But what in life that's worthwhile isn't worth a little bit of effort?
Mhm.
So, but I can share with you the fact that there is a system that is in place that's designed. If you follow the system the way that we outlined it, you will be successful. It's not, if you follow it, there was a possibility that you're going to be successful. It's, if you follow our system, you will be successful at it. Period. The end. No questions asked.
Even people who just want to do it as a hobby, or like maybe they want to do a podcast being a stay-at-home mom. I mean,
Great.
so you don't have to be a business owner is what.
No, you totally don't need to be a business owner. As a matter of fact, what's really interesting, what happens when you start a podcast and you don't have any specific purpose to monetize your podcast, or say, I'm bringing this online course, or I'm bringing this program, or I'm bringing this coaching thing, I'm bringing this to my podcast, I'm going to push it on this audience, I'm like on this community that I'm going to build. And what I would tell you is, don't do it that way. Come to the table actually not 100% sure what your community is going to want. After a short period of time, your community, even a small community of 5 or 10 or 20 people, they're going to tell you through emails, through social media connections, through however it is that you're going to end up communicating and engaging your community, they're going to tell you what they want you to do. And at that point, it's your choice. So if you're a mom that just wants to talk about the amazing power of staying at home and raising a family, and being that person for the bedrock in your family, like my mom was our family, if you spend that time just sharing your passion with your community, somebody in your community is going to turn around and say one day, you really should have a course on X, Y, and Z, budgeting, or you should really have a course on raising kids, or when they do that, when they say that to you, that is all the inspiration and motivation you need to probably get those wheels rolling. Now, if you come into it with I have a course on budgeting and I'm going to shove that down the throats of everybody that's in my community, and nobody responds to that, now you're just working a wheel that is square. Who
Yeah.
wants to work a square wheel? I'd rather work a wheel downhill where all I got to do is get it started and push it to my community. And that's what podcasting has done, not only for me. I mean, when I got into the podcasting world, I wasn't a podcast producer. I was a professional speaker and an author and a trainer. Somebody in my community said to us, "Hey, can you teach us how to build a podcast?" And I said to Lou Diamond, who was one of our first clients, or a first client, I said, Lou, I don't even know how to do it myself. And this was several years ago. I don't know how to do it myself, but if you would be open to getting some training from me, I would be happy to share with you what we know. So we decided on a plan. We decided on how much he was going to pay me to do it. That was my first client. And now we've launched over 200 shows since then and made hundreds of thousands of dollars since then. And I'll tell you, it's been the greatest thing, because I did not come to the table ready to teach podcasting. I came to the table trying to shove my book, shove my training, shove my coaching at everybody. And that wasn't what they wanted. And you have to be okay with that. If you're in the podcasting space, be ready to be flexible.
Thank you. That's good advice. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm still formulating what I want to do. When I was talking to Strick, I wanted the title "Loved, Seen, Heard, Understood," and then the tagline "Soul of an Empath."
I'd do it the other way. I'd almost do it the other way. Soul of an empath. You're going to attract a certain person or a certain community to that podcast just by the title itself. And whether you call it the first and use the other as the subtitle, it doesn't really matter. People are still going to find
I
you.
like that as well.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like that? Please comment.
There you go, Tiffany.
Get a poll. Do you like "Soul of an Empath" as my new podcast title?
What I think that speaks to is, it's a short title and it speaks to an audience that will completely understand what your brand and what your message immediately are all about. And when you do something like that and you bring that to the table as somebody's going to search for empath on Apple Podcasts and your podcast title is going to come up. then it's up to them whether they click or not. So I think it's a great title. I think either way that you use that, it's a great opportunity for you to share. And there's nothing wrong with, even after you release this and it's out to the world, you still have the ability to change everything: your cover art, your title, your description, your episodes. We have pivoted so many times with our show. We've done 1,100 episodes pretty much of our show,
Oh
a
my
1,070 over the last 5.5 years. And if there's one thing I have learned that you have to be okay with is changing gears. You must change gears to survive in podcasting.
God. I see. I see. And if someone wanted to learn more about podcasting and see if it might be, up their alley, what's a good love offering that you have for them?
Well, a good free love offering, from my perspective, anything that's free is given with love. We have it's just a free download. It's a book, an ebook. It is Secrets of Top Podcasters Revealed. I had the chance to interview 5 highly successful podcasters to
Mm-hmm.
learn some of their secrets. And I always tell everybody, don't believe me, believe people that actually are in the space aside from me. So we've created a document, Secrets of Top Podcasters Revealed, and I think that you may even have. I can put a link in the box for it as well. Here, let me do that so people have it, and I think that's how they can get to it. I just dropped it in there, and if you can even share that on the screen if you want to, or they can just click on that link. That link, fortunately, is associated with you, so everybody that clicks on that link will know that, hey, that came from Tiffany. So I would love it. And the neat part about it is today is Saturday as we're doing this Facebook Live. The promotion actually doesn't even start until Monday. So you guys are given a little bit of a head start. But when you called me or emailed me or texted me and said, hey, would you, or I think you Facebook messaged me actually, when you Facebooked me and you said, hey, I get you on live? I was thinking, a couple of days before the promotion, but I like Tiffany. I'm going to give her community a little bit of a head start. So feel free to download that free document if you like.
Thank you. And I also have it in the description, learn more as a bit.ly URL if, later down the road you, for whatever, don't have access to the comment section, like when this posts to YouTube or something, you can just get it there.
Terrific. Yeah, I see it as a bit.ly link for you also, and that's great. Leads to the same document. The promotion that we're going through lasts between now and July 1st. So if you click on that link and it says inactive, it's inactive simply because the promotional period had ended. We got a whole bunch of free giveaways, free goodies during this promotional period between today actually and July 1st. So feel free to click that link anywhere between now and July 1st. But do it now because Tiffany's actually a little ahead of the curve. She's gotten the access to the document because the big boss says it's okay.
I'm kind of an instant gratification person, so I want it, and I do things now.
Understood. I am the same way. So in our audience right now, we actually have in the listening community, we have James Lamb, and James actually was a student of one of the courses that we put him through, and James went through it flying colors. He went from beginning to concept to launch all the way through, and he launched his show 6 weeks after he started it, just like us. The nice thing, Tiffany, what we're actually doing a little bit differently than many of the different programs that we have out there in the world where it's one-on-one coaching. We're actually going to take this community that you have, plus the community of, I think as of today, 81 other partners that we have signed up with. And we're going to launch 100 podcasts on August 18th. And
Wow.
We're excited to be able to help those that are in your community start right where they are right now, which is the same place where you are. You're like, I think this will work, but I'm not 100% sure if this is the concept or what's the title. You don't need to have any of that stuff. We tell people the more unprepared you come on day one when we actually start the training, the better you are, because we want people to come to this with a completely open mind and trying to figure out. We'll help you find in the beginning week or so. We'll help you find what that passion is that you have and where you can direct that passion and how you can direct it into podcasting.
Nice. Nice. Thank you so much. And because I'm doing this training too, if you want to come play with me and be going through this together, then please click on that link and we can do this, you know, arm in arm. I'm usually the one that's leading trainings, and and so now you get to be with me in a totally different dynamic because we're going through and
Yeah,
learning.
but you know what's really nice about that, Tiffany? It's great, and we've mentioned this point a couple of times to people that were unsure if they should be launching a podcast at the same time that their community is launching a podcast. And the way I look at it is, yes, I agree. You are normally the leader of this group that this community that you have built, and congratulations for building such a substantial and a wonderful and a giving and loving and empathetic community that you have. You are still the leader of that community, and people will still look up to you for your advice and your encouragement. And if you're in Tiffany's group and you're thinking about going through this, know that Tiffany will be probably about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of you at all times. So she still will be your leader, and she will find the leadership, depth that she has when she is, the mark of a good leader is actually somebody that can lead from the front line also. And you're going to be leading right there from the front line with your community. And I'm looking forward to that. But the first step, before we even get to the launch part, the first step is really just read the document, see if you relate to. There's a couple of folks that are in that document that I think that you will really relate to, like Mary DeMuth, who has a show called Pray Every Day, which is certainly not a business podcast, but it does mark your spiritual center. And we have two other guys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fear, who have a show called Hustle and Flowchart podcast, which is all about business and affiliate relationships. And so we can take somebody that is completely business focused and somebody that is completely religion and spiritually focused, and you can see that they can both work together to launch a podcast and be successful at it. You don't have to specifically be in business or specifically be spiritual. You could be whoever you are, bring it to the table and let's get it going, because that'll be fun. But it all starts with that document.
Mm-hmm. And like Dr. Maribel, who commented in this, that she loves the title that I suggested and aligns with the soul qualities. Like she could even do something with psychology,
Absolutely.
something in that arena.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what your subject matter is. And I say that because that's the reality of how podcasting works. If you're an accountant and you want to share your inspirational and motivational message with other accountants, there's a podcast for you. If you're a funeral director or if you are a tightrope walker, doesn't matter. There's a subject for you in podcasting. Your audience, actually, from a business perspective, the riches are in the niches. The smaller you can fine tune what you're talking about, the better your podcast will be able to drive people to your community. And that's really what will help you do that. I've
Ooh,
been thinking, she's been thinking for a while, so I want to do it. Let's play. So, how do you pronounce her last name? Or is it Dr. Maribel? Is that how you
yeah.
pronounce her name? So I would encourage Dr. Maribel. The first step is really just looking at the document. The document will lead you to a bigger picture, which is, hey, maybe you should think about coming to our masterclass, which is a 60-minute program that you can either watch live or you can watch it through replay. So, but it's all through the document. That's the first place to go.
Nice. Maribel, let's play together.
I agree with you, Tiffany. I love it when you can get people in your community to play along with you. How much more fun to imagine this. So we have just so you have like an insider peek. We have a Facebook group that's designed specifically for this group of 100 podcasts that we're launching, and we're all going to be sharing titles and cover art and descriptions and the voiceover beginning and the end and all of the things that we're going to be building. Yeah, we're helping you build these things. So all of the things you're going to be building, we're all in this group together as a community, and you'll have your sub communities within the community. So Tiffany will have her community, and then she'll come over here to this community, and guys will all share your cover art and your titles and all that stuff. And then you'll go back over to the other community where everybody is in there, and you're going to be like, hey, here's Tiffany's community. That's kind of stuff for me. We're going to make it a game, and we're going to have so much fun as we're going through this. And I agree. She goes, let's play. And I agree with that philosophy. I think it's time to play. It's time to play.
And and I know you're obviously going to cover this in the training, but
Sure.
you could give me like a little advance. Um, if someone's wanting to start a podcast and
Mhm.
we research, like what I did is I went to iTunes and I, searched for empath just to see how many shows there are. And there were like 4 or 5 with the
Yeah.
word empath. And there were many with the word heal or healing
Mhm.
in it. So I thought, okay, empath is probably more, better because the healing part already has a lot of podcasts in that subject.
Right.
What's a good number?
A number of others to be in that space.
Yeah.
So let's go back to my 2 shows. I host 6 shows right now. So let's go back to 2 of those shows. The Nice Guys on Business podcast, a general business show. If you click on general business shows, there are literally tens of thousands of general business shows. But
Mhm.
we have carved out a niche for the Nice Guys just because of the title and because of the way that because just surely because the amount of volume that we've put out there over the years. So we've carved out a small micro niche. But then you look at the Ford Mustang, the early years podcast, totally tight micro niche. And so specifically people that are listening to that show, we know are fans or enthusiasts of Ford Mustangs. But on our big business show, it's a much wider niche. So depending on what things you're offering to that group or what you're looking to get from that show or from that community would dictate the good number. So depending on what your goal is, I would say, hey, again, I come back to the phrase that I said before, the riches are in the niches. Great. Have a show that doesn't have any other podcasts in that particular. But then again, people that are looking for you are going to be are going to be challenged to find you. If you have a word in your title that is so niche that only one show exists, it might be challenging. You're going to have a far less of a community running into you on Apple that's searching for you. But you have a business show. If somebody goes to Nice and Business or Business and Empathetic or Business and Compassion podcast, maybe the Nice Guys on Business will come up. Maybe not. The other thing that you got to realize too is that the majority of your traffic in the beginning, while it's going to be organic, as you start to mature, people are going to find you because your community is going to tell other people to go and see you. So it won't really even matter who's finding you. It'll just be a bonus if you pull somebody organically off of Apple Podcasts, but
Mhm.
doesn't even necessarily ever have to happen. You could have a podcast and not even push it through Apple Podcast, a private podcast you're just putting on your website. You'll still get traffic because you're going to be good at it and your community is going to tell other people. But I would much rather have a podcast that could be found potentially by the unknown because that's really who we're looking for, the people that have never heard of Tiffany.
Nice. Yeah, and as, um, something else I'm considering, just as a sneak peek for you guys, I'm thinking
Sure.
about building a cell phone app, and part of that app will have links to all of my podcasts so that you can, access them on the go on your phone,
So the other, and that's a great idea. I love using technology to your advantage. And if you consider your podcast as in the hub of your business as a way to develop business or as lead generation, and on all the spokes or the ways that you potentially come into your podcast, how do you find traffic for your podcast? Well, part of it's going to be through Apple Podcasts. Part of it's going to be through your guest shares. Part of it's going to be through your teaching and coaching. Part of it's going to be through Google search. Part of it's going to be through your app. There's a million different ways. The more of those ways that you have, just keep in mind that you don't want to dilute it so much that you have no time for none of them. So if somebody came to me today and they said, "How do you promote your podcast?" and I would just say, "Well, I get organic reach right now. Most of my reach comes from my guests just sharing their episodes with their community. But the other way that I get it is through social media. So we focus on Instagram and Facebook, not advertisement, but our social media posts. So we just post on social media, and that gets more organic or more traffic. I don't know if it's considered organic, but that gets us more traffic than pretty much anything that we do. Now, if I started focusing on an app and and promoting my website and promoting these other 7 things, I don't have 7 arms. Until I have a marketing department, this is just what we just work on the thing that we know is really working well.
Great. Well, if you guys want to learn more about it, please go to Doug's link. I just posted it again for you. So between Doug and my post for the link, go there, get his freebie, and then let's play. Like if you decide to keep going with the training, let's play together. Well, thank you so much, Doug, for um, being a part of this interview today, and the first person that I'm actually interviewing on in this new way. Like I've done
Cool.
Facebook Live interviews before, but like I'm trying to actually intentionally create community that really actually takes the time to learn more about each other
Yeah. Yeah.
personally and professionally, and then we can develop more friendships, more relationships, more business partnerships, buy and do business with people that we like, um, and just know that we're not alone. And this is one of those ways um, that we can stay connected, and even when we're social distancing. So
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you. And I agree with you. There are so many great ways that you guys can connect. Having this Facebook group is wonderful. It puts people that are in alignment with each other and have, very similar beliefs, very similar philosophies on life and love. And I think it's a great way for you guys to connect. Whether you do the podcast or not, it'd certainly be great to have you on this journey with us. But this is a good group to be in. So I would say hang out in this group. You will learn a lot. You will share a lot. You're going to be supporting your neighbor very much by doing by being in this group. And Tiffany, hats off to you for doing a wonderful job of putting the group together and having such a sizable group too. When I joined this group, just today, I joined the group so I could watch this later on Facebook as well. Now I'm like hooked in the group. Now I like see all these other things that are going on. I'm like, this is going to be a group I'm going to hang out in a little bit. If I'm welcome here, I'm going to stay here for just a little while.
you're welcome. You're a nice guy. You're welcome.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you. Thank you for your kindness also.
There's a certain quality of of souls that I attract and want in my community, and you are welcome.
Thank
You
you very much.
on that.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on the show. And I'm happy to have been your first interview that you had done here. They say they always remember your first, and I'm glad that you will be remembering me as your first Facebook Live interview.
Well, not a Facebook Live, but in this way, and
Oh,
with
the StreamYard thing.
I've never done StreamYard before, and I think it's pretty cool. So
Yeah, one other thing that you could do, like Dr. Maribel, you could actually put her comment up on Facebook. I don't know if you, I mean, up on the StreamYard. If you go up to the live comments area and you say post, you'll see that you can actually put her comment into the actual StreamYard, uh, like the picture. I don't know if you can see how to do it, but it's there somewhere. You'll figure it out. I can't do it because I don't have the master controls over here like you do, but you can do it.
okay. Well, thanks again, and have a great day, Doug.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks. Thank you.
For watching. Stay tuned for our next one. I'm going to do them periodically throughout the week, like maybe one to three interviews a week, so that we can keep getting to know everyone. And you don't have to have a business for me to interview you. If you've got something cool happening in your life that you just want to be witnessed, I'll witness you. You can come and share. Like, it doesn't have to be because you're a business owner that we're here and talking and connecting. So I just wanted to make that really clear. All right. Again, bye for now, and I look forward to seeing everyone again soon.